Hey everybody, it's me, Double D. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I wanted to kind of pass on a lesson that a guy named Ryan Fowler, actually, he's a great guitarist and he plays with Kelly Bell, the Kelly Bell Band, and he owns Ryan Fowler's Guitar Experience. I was kind of running through ideas in my head for a solo, and he had recommended, hey, you know what's really cool is this way to not only do pentatonics up the neck that way, but to also go up the fretboard while also going up the neck. And you can use it in almost every style, every genre, whatever it is that you play. You could probably find a use for this. So today I'm going to show you the couple of tricks to using one pattern that, depending on how you apply this one shape, in one of two different ways, you're going to end up with some really cool results. Solo ideas to riff ideas to just simple licks or repetitive kind of things or ostinatos or just practicing. It's a cool way to kind of open up the fretboard, especially the pentatonic scale you're probably familiar with. And we might not really know where to go from there, other than... Or maybe the blues scale, and that's great to know. That in conjunction with this one shape can get you some extra notes if you're familiar with the idea of applying chromatic passing tones, all in between all of the pentatonic notes, and you can do that in all as long as you kind of honor the shape, the locations of the starting and stopping points. Your ear accepts it, that they're just kind of rolling through that pattern. They can be thought of as minor or major, which is something that I guess maybe you've heard people talk about, how the minor shape, that A minor shape I'm playing, if you end on C instead, if you end on this note, you kind of get that. So let's take a look at this kind of stuff where we're going to use some of our caged chords, and we'll start off with one shape over one chord, and then we're going to apply that same shape and apply it to two chords that are related. So this whole related thing where you have a minor chord and then a major chord, I know I should be cleaner, right? We should practice all this stuff clean. So it's a good idea to do that. But right now I'm going to kind of move in between cleaner and dirty sounds just to kind of make it a little more clear. But there's a C major, and then you go 3 half steps down and make a minor shape, and there's that box. And ending it there gives you that kind of a C major shape, and ending it on they're related and they're similar. So just coming up with a progression alone between C major and A minor, you can use C pentatonic major, and you can also use A pentatonic minor. They're the same shape. A minor chord, it's built off of the note 3 half steps away, just like that, and it's going to create a minor chord. Just like we do here in G to C, if you go E to A minor, that kind of movement, E minor to A minor, that movement up a fourth, is the same as doing this, but with major chords, and we're using all of the same notes. That's the important part of staying in key, is that all of these chords are going to be built from the same notes, all of the notes within G major. So if we do this and then do the same thing, we have a minor chord that's up a fourth from our relative minor, and then we can do the same thing that we do to find our major fifth. We go like this. You're going to have a major 1, a major 4, and a major 5, right? Okay, and then so we're also going to have a minor 6th, and then what is the minor second? The second note is going to form a minor, and then that third note of the G scale is going to also form a minor chord. The first, fourth, and fifth do the majors. The sixth, second, and thirds are doing the minors. And what we're going to look at first is this G major right here, right? So the pattern is going to be, we're going to do 3 notes on one string, and then we're going to do 2 notes the next string up, okay? So we're going to do it like this, and then 2 notes. And that first note is going to be the root note, okay? And then you're going to go up a string, and we're going to do 2 more notes. And so if we're in G, that would be 3, 5, and 7. So all of these were really what we're talking about are whole step intervals. So it's a pattern of 3 notes, 2 whole steps, and then up a string and doing another whole step. And that's the same as your pentatonic shape, position shape 2, I guess you might want to call it, but the major, that major shape. And then instead of going 5, you go up a string, and it's giving us the root, the major second, and the major third, and then it's giving us the fifth, the perfect fifth, and the major sixth. So we're getting all the major notes, and we're bypassing the perfect fourth, just like you do in your normal shape. So, and then the cool thing about this pattern, if you're familiar with octaves, you can repeat it from your octave note. That same pattern is going to happen again. So up 2 strings and then up 2 frets. So you can either, if you like 3 note per string patterns, you can do index finger and middle finger. I tend to like to stretch the index finger to positions as opposed to trying to stretch the pinky. See, that's a hard move, trying to stretch the ring to pinky that far, especially low. It's a lot easier to do this. And then you have this space, this is more natural for the second finger and the fourth finger. And it's a little easier to kind of have your thumb in position and move that index finger back. So you can do that, or you can go index finger to ring finger and then slide up to the 7. So either way, 3, 5, 7, and then 5, 7. And that's the same as, and then there's your root again on the D string at the 5th fret. So there's all sorts of stuff in there, you got your minor third. There's your minor 7. There's your major 7. So if we're in G major, we're going to want a major 7 there. The crux of the biscuit is right there between 3, 5, 7 and then 5, 7 again. So how would we do that in minor? Well, let's look at it here in G minor, again, just to keep it kind of, as opposed to that sound, we're going to lift up our middle finger, no offense, and do that sound. And so we're still going to think of this as our root note. So for the minor shape, this is now the root note. So we're going to have 2 notes on our E string. We're going to go G, and then we can have this first fret is available as well. And then we would go up to the 1st fret on the A string, 3rd fret, and then 5th fret on the A string. And here that gives you the root, the minor third. It's skipping the seconds. We're not getting a minor second or a major second here. We're going to the 3rd, we're getting our 4th, and then our 5th. And you have your minor 7th there, which then we repeat the pattern here. Just like this, you're going to go. And I'm just kind of repeating that so you can hear the root note, but, and see, this slide can be using different fingers just to try to make the fretting clear, but the sliding is going to be the same kind of thing. You're going to want to slide. See, sliding from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret, or sliding from the 2nd to last note of this pattern gets us to go up another. And then when we hit the B string, we have to remember that the B string is tuned differently compared to the G. So we have a minor 3rd instead of a perfect 4th. So we have to shift up. So listen if we didn't shift up. See, all of a sudden I'm hitting an E and an F sharp, and we're not in, those notes aren't in there. So we have to know that our octaves are here. We have 3rd, 5th, and 8th, and that alone you should really get down. If you don't know that, at least start to practice that. Understand that concept. That's where this pattern really comes in handy, is hearing it as well as playing it and knowing where you are. Say the notes: root, 7th, root, minor 3rd, 4th, 5th. Root, minor 7th, root, minor 3rd, 4th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, root. As opposed to root, major 2nd, major 3rd, 5th and 6th. See how major, and then you can make it dominant or completely major just by adding in those notes. But the crux of the biscuit is either 2 and 3 for minor, or 3 and 2 for your major. So the same thing there. As you can see, when I got to that G, I can't just go. You have to also shift. So this exercise, this little pattern, is a great exercise to just get under your fingers, first off for major and second off for minor, and where that shift happens. It's real easy to get it down when you're using the E string as that kind of a starting position. You also want to start to get this down in any position, but running across, where you're going to run across the B string at a different space than that way. Like, so just for example, if we're up here in A, and let's say I wanted to do A minor, so there's the 14th fret, you know, there's 14. So we go, and I can't just go, I have to go. And then you can hear the arpeggio, root, minor 3rd, 5th, the 2, 3. As opposed to so that in A, on the 12th fret, on the A string, 12, 12, 10, and then 10, 12, 4. You end that pattern there on your pinky. You can still do that. You just have to shift up. Practicing that alone, the 2 and then 3 across the A and the B string, will start to help you get that shift just in your head. And see, then we continue right there. So if we did this from the A string with this 12th fret A is our root. Like I was, by spreading your fingers, or you can, on the way down, do it just a little bit different. So, you know, I shift there. I use the index finger there between the 15th and the 13th fret, so 17, 15, and then 17, 15. And you can pick it or slide it, or you can pull them all off. So we're going from this root to this root, and then you can go to this root. And then you want to continue on going down, you absolutely can. See, so there that pattern just picks up. And look, now we're back to C major, which is our relative major. So you see how this pattern is the same. There it is, ending on C. And then emphasizing the A, and that minor seventh leading up to that A really helps to bring out the A-ness of it, right? The A minor of it. So if you were playing like a jam that was kind of C major and then going down to the relative minor of A, you could do that. What if we were in G major and kind of doing like I was talking about before, where we were playing in G major, you know, so like 1 to 2, and the E is the relative minor, you know, because then we're still looking at A minor, but it's not from the C family, right? It's from the G family. Well, we can still use this shape. And then, when we switch over to G major, your fifth is generally going to be a pretty safe note. So you see how I could kind of play the G. I know, like when I'm playing the major shape, my index fingers are really like the key notes, and that's why that slide helps kind of get you in that home base thinking. You know what I mean? So my index finger here and here is important, and the pattern has it. So you hear how the 6 is kind of unresolved, and it goes down to the 5th. The perfect 5th is there in all of these shapes, except starting from the 7th, the low Korean position with that whole flat 5th. We won't get into that in this lesson. This shape doesn't really perfectly apply to that because it doesn't have a perfect 5th. It does have the minor, but then we're going to not talk about it. Okay, so we're talking about the G, how we can now go G major, and we can have A minor is our second chord. Our third chord would be B minor, right? And then, unless you're playing creep. All right, there's several progressions where it does that, but this kind of a shape will then allow you to even see those kind of strange changes where you come out of key for a second. You're really just coming out of key with a major chord somewhere where it should be minor, or a minor chord where it should be major. As you learn the progression, you'll start to hear where that happens. And these arpeggios are built into this, you know. There's your A. Here's your G. 3, 7, 5. 5 on the A string, and then we do our A minor, 5 on the E string, and then 3, 7 up to B, and then here on C. So you have your G major and your A minor. So that's you know, that's kind of a chill little sound alone. You could be playing an A minor, and then have it resolve down to the G. See, and there, that 6 becomes the 5, so they're all really fair game at that point. And you know what's really wild is because we're using the G major shape, really the G major pentatonic, we're actually not even using the box position for A minor now, our normal. We're using what are the notes of G major pentatonic, and we're going to go up to essentially the next position. See, there's our G. So this shape of our pentatonic shapes, the one that would go like 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, and then some of you guys might know this is shape 3, because it follows shape 2, and then of course our E, our relative E minor, becomes the very familiar box shape of 03, 02, 02, 02, 03, 03. Yeah? So that lick, you could end it on either one of those. Those same notes will work. They serve different purposes over those chords, but they are very, very fair game. And so now what we're doing is we're kind of adding the G major pentatonic over an A minor shape, so we can now, you know, kind of we can throw in that C. See how this, the G major shape really doesn't have that C, this little shape, and the pentatonic shape doesn't have a C, but we know when we hit this A, it's fair game because it's the minor third in our progression against the A. And we also know it's the 4th, you know, so it's in our major scale. So let's hear that with a little bit of a track. Right here, just taking it up here. Let's say we want to get up into these some of these money notes here, right? And I'm all pentatonic, you know. I'm doing this on purpose at the moment to really just try to outline. I'm not hitting the chromatic notes at the moment, but let's say we're here in this position, this kind of real familiar box that we have for A minor, right? And then when we get to the G chord, and when we get the G chord, we can, you know, we got our, whenever we're playing over the G, we could be playing G major pentatonic or E minor pentatonic. And when we're over this A minor, we can still do the same, but what we want to do is try more so to bring out the notes of A minor pentatonic. But we also know that the notes of this G, because of our progression, because it has this G major, we know that these G major shapes, that is there. We also have a D major available to us. So we can kind of come up with maybe like a progression that is going to have two chords that are going to have a similar feel, you know, that'll have this kind of a thing. minor, and then that G, and then you want a little bit of a change, you can go up to the perfect fifth of this G major and make another major chord. And then come down to this A. That's not a bad little progression, right? The shapes, you know your cage shapes. There's G, D, and then an A minor. So on that position, on this, we have access to major shapes. Have access to a couple of minor shapes. Right, so then you can you can come up with kind of low riffs. You work on this pattern up here. Let's do that same thing right here. Here we have the minor shape. Here's our E. So 14 to 12, and then back to 14 for the root. 12, 14, 16. G on the 12th fret of the G string, and then we have to shift. However you like to do it, you know, whatever's comfortable for you. When you start to hear where you can bend, so we can go from here. And you know you want to bend this note to here now. This note to here. This note to here.